with Shawn, with Taylor's, last second pitches and trying to do a Brett Favre, like Bo said, last second. How do you coach him to not make those last second decisions like that?
Yeah, you just teach him not to make impulse decisions. He made one really impulse decision. The pitch to Niles was actually a read, and Niles almost came out of the route pattern too fast. So with Taylor, I think the one thing our receivers are learning is that they need to stay in it, because Taylor, he has the ability to make those kind of plays, and whenever the defense reacts to him. So that play there, was really, it looked like it was an impulse decision on his part, but it wasn't. I mean, he's making a read on that. That's a read play that has two different reads on, and we just need to stay in our route pattern with the receivers longer, and I think they're beginning to understand that with him. He made one early in the game that I did not like at all, and he knows I didn't like it. So those are the things that I'm talking about.
Obviously, he's had a few of those, but for the most part, he's pleased with the way that he's been able to control. I mean, just because he has the ball in his hands so much, he's trying to make the big play that he hasn't really forced it. It doesn't seem like he's forced it in an obvious situation like that too often.
No, he's a work in progress. He's learning how to value the football, because as a quarterback, especially the type of offense that we run, you're going to handle the ball every time, and most of the time you're in a decision. You're making decisions, whether it's the run game or the pass game. So as a younger player, that's the hardest thing to teach, is to teach younger players the value of the ball and how important that is and how it affects the team. So he's learning that. He's still a work in progress, but he's really has grown and has got a better understanding what that means to respect the football and keep the possession.
Shawn, you say he's a work in progress, but he's semifinals from Davey O'Brien. What's that say for him as being a freshman?
He's an outstanding competitor, and he's a great playmaker. He has unbelievable ability. I think it speaks also to what his future can be. Where he may be able to take this whole thing, and I think that's where the competitive part of him that's what keeps him going too. I mean, he's hungry to see how far he can stretch himself, because he's not afraid to stretch himself. He's willing to take on anything and everything, and that's what makes him unique. He's a great competitor.
When you get two quarterbacks, like the caliber quarterbacks that are going to face off this weekend, I mean, how much can that structure the way a game plays out?
No, I think it's huge, because I know that what they do offensively and what we do offensively, the quarterback is the focal point of both offenses. So I think it has an obvious impact on the game, like we were just talking about, because of the decisions the quarterback has in his hand.
What do you remember about Blaine Gabbert? He was a guy that you obviously got to know pretty well back when you recruited him.
Right. He's a great talent. He's got great arm talent. He's got size, and he has athleticism to go with it. He's an NFL caliber quarterback.
How important was it for BK to have a breakthrough game? I mean, 3 catches, 3 touchdowns.
I think it was huge for both he and Niles. They really wore the right way. The Texas game, and they wanted to get the record set straight. Most importantly in their minds, and it was important for those guys to come and play a good game. And there was a lot of purpose in their week in practice, a lot of purpose, going into the game. There's just a great feeling of where those two were at, and really where all of our kids were. But those two in particular really took a lot of pride in their work, and they put it on film on Saturday.
Were you waiting when the team was going into a shootout with a team that typically wins those types of games?
Got to win it.
I mean, did you know the offense had the capability?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think it forces other teams to prepare for you differently now that they've seen that you can be effective in this way.
I would hope so. We've always, I've said it from day one, this is the kind of, opportunities that we have, and we just have to, we have to continue to develop a younger quarterback, and, he's really coming along. And, he's learning every day. He's a real work in progress, as you've heard Bo and I say many times, and we'll keep telling you that because he's only 7 games into his career. But he's really growing, and with his growth, we're able to, with the weapons that we have, we're able to take off in a lot of different directions, and that's what you got to see Saturday. He's really starting to get it, and he was able to use his people.
Missouri's got the 5th-ranked scoring defense. What do they do so well?
I think they're, they give you multiple looks. Here's where I'd started off at. They have great personnel. They've got a really good defensive unit, and they play a lot of players. They've done a really nice job of developing their players, and their scheme then adds to that. A lot of multiple looks, a lot of different types of pressures that they can put on an offense. So, they've done a nice job, a really nice job. I think their defense is, the one thing that I think everybody around the country is looking at and going, that's where the biggest improvement is in Missouri.
What's different from that unit as compared to the one that you faced last year?
I just think, probably, this is, David's second year. And he's able to make his mark on, his schemes and what he's trying to do with the defensive direction he's trying to take it. And, the guys, obviously, that, they have a lot of kids, even though they graduated several players, but there are a lot of guys who are starting or still backing up that played a lot of football last year, so that experience always weighs heavy.
They're really good at stopping the run. What's your concern being able to pull that way against them?
Well, they haven't seen anybody like us, so, hopefully we'll be able to, what we do, it'll be different, and, we always tweak us, so what they see is not what they're going to necessarily get. It'll be a good battle because their kids up front, their defensive line is definitely a strength of their football team. Very impressive group, and so it'll be a real challenge for our offensive line and our tight ends.
Coach, how big is this game? Just when you talk about the implications it has for the Big 12 North, the winner gets the tiebreaker and kind of is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, it's huge. It's what this point in the season, you get in this point of the season, latter part of October and November, and that's when championships begin to be revealed and get won. So these are games. These are obviously big games, huge games.
Is every play that you have drawn up for Kyler Reed? Every catch you have?
He's just he's a unique player. He's a matchup issue for any defense that tries to match him. You can't. A linebacker match is not a healthy match. He's safety match is not a good match. And then he proved last week he can take a corner match and turn that into a touchdown. He's just an exceptional athlete. He's got great speed and he's got athleticism, ball skills. He's the total package.
I know he was banged up a little last year, but what do you think, other reasons you think it's kind of clicked for Kyler?
He's grown up. Yeah, just that simple. He's grown up. I think, every player in their career has a time when the lights go on and everything that you've been talking to them about becomes important. And, they start seeing why it's important. That's the key, why. And, he's really come on. Ron's done a great job with him, developing him. He's really playing well for us.
Shawn, it sounds like there was a time when he could have went offense or defense. You just looked at that. What tipped it to the offensive side with him?
Prayer, because Bo's always got his eye on those good players. But, honestly, seriously, I think Kyler always wanted to be an offensive player, and he saw himself in that role in our offense, and really him, because we never force that issue on anybody. We always try to line up our guys in the best spot to help the team, and then it always ends up being where they feel best suited to play. And I thought, in Kyler's case, he'd be probably better to ask, but I always felt like he felt like that was, offensive football was his cup of tea. That's where he wanted to be.
Coach, after Texas, just the way that your unit played, it's a totally different performance against Oklahoma State. As far as there were collective errors. A lot of guys make mistakes against Texas. There, it's often against Oklahoma State. Did you see signs during the week?
Yeah, it's the character of our players. They took it really personal that we didn't play up to speed against Texas. I mean, you look back on it, and there's always momentum shifts in a game, and you grab one of those touchdown passes because legitimately we probably had 4 at least dropped, and we end up capitalizing on one of those. Then Mojo comes on your sideline, and now you're rocking. And that's really what happened this past Saturday. But even before then, it comes back to making the play. The guys have done a nice job of getting open, putting themselves in position to make those type of plays. And it was just a matter against Texas of finishing them. What we did, in the weeks of practice, there was a real focus on finishing, and the guys did a great job of that. And then, they were going to play well. I mean, there was real purpose in their work, like I said.
How do you get them to carry that mentality over?
I think it's the character of guys that we have. They'll do that because that's the standard of play they want to play at.
Do you feel like Taylor makes a conscious effort to maybe raise his game a little bit against some of the better quarterbacks? I mean, with Enderle and Locker and even Whedon, I mean, he seemed to have his better games against those guys. And I mean, is that encouraging going up against another good?
You probably should ask Taylor that. Honestly, I think the way I know Taylor shows up every week that way. That's the guy I know. He just shows up every day at practice that way. He's always competing against himself, I think, more than maybe another quarterback. But I'm sure there's a little bit of that in him, that he would like to show up well against other guys that have got a national name.
Talk about how he's learning how to value the ball when he's scrambling or trying to push for extra yards. Is there a part of you just say go down at some point because someone gets into trouble?
Not really. I mean, he's really made it a conscious effort, and he's much more secure with the football than he's ever been. When he first came to us, he had a lot of high school in him, or backyard ball. Ball was everywhere, but he keeps the ball in the high and tight, and he's doing a nice job of keeping two on in traffic. He's never going to be the kind of guy that's going to go down. He's going to level his pads off and attack the tackler, and that's just And I kind of our offense feeds off of that because he's a courageous guy. So I would never take that away from his demeanor, and we coach him up and have been from day one on his ball security. Made sure that it was a point made that he needs to wrap it up and keep it in our possession.
Hey, Shawn, you guys have made a lot of progress since last year, but you haven't faced a whole lot of good defenses. Missouri's got a really good defense. Is that are you curious a little bit about how your improvements will translate to a good defense?
Yeah, we look at every week it's a challenge to go up against the guys that obviously Missouri's having a great year defensively, so it'll be a nice challenge for us. Absolutely.
Is your team's confidence a little shaken about playing at home?
I don't think so. No, I don't sense anything like that.
How impressed were you with Taylor's ability to avoid the pass rush, and how tough is that for a quarterback to do?
He's got a natural ability to do that. He gets himself out of. He's just got a natural feel for the pocket. He always has. I mean, it's one of the things that has been easy to coach with him. He understands how to negotiate a pocket, and then when to stay in and when to leave. And when he leaves, he can hurt you with your feet his feet. He's been very effective when he's chosen that as a check down.
With the number of times Taylor's carrying your football, and now last night throwing the ball 35 times, are Roy and Rex okay with their number of touches?
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, it's what's the defense given? It's not. And we have things obviously that we can dial to our tailbacks, and we do that. And when you run this kind of game, it's an option game. That's just what it is. And they're going to get their touches based off what the defense gives.
Coach, how about Mike McNeil and the play that how he did Saturday? Seemed like he had a good ball game for you, and he seems like a very key guy for you.
Yeah, well, Mike's been, he's really a great route runner, and he's been working. He's always worked really hard, and he's just embraced his role, because when we moved him from tight end to receiver, it was a totally new position, and he's done a great job in the blocking aspect, made us more physical there. It's been a key on the number of big breakout runs. He's been a key, at the point of attack, he's been a key player. So he's done, I think, a great job, an excellent job, both embracing his role, and making the transition over, and now that he's a great route runner, and he's an easy guy to find because he gets himself open. He does an excellent job, and we make sure that we have him in our targeting pattern.
How difficult is it to protect against a letdown after a big road win? Obviously, a big road win at K-State
letdown in Texas. How difficult is it to prepare for that?
It's not hard because, Missouri has our full attention. We have respect for the work that they've done, and, everybody obviously understands, what is at stake with this game, so there won't be a letdown.